Hello and welcome to the Leaders of Tomorrow on ET Now, the only show on Indian television where you, the MSME, get center stage to voice your opinions and thoughts. This is ET Now's special daily initiative to give MSMEs and entrepreneurs the opportunity to be front and center on every industry and area that matters to you. Tonight on Influencer, we're bringing you a conversation with Embassy Industrial Parks, and on Leader Focus, we're bringing you a segment on logistics and packaging. I caught up with Anshul Singhal, the CEO of Embassy Industrial Parks, to ask him how MSME entrepreneurs can leverage setting up in an industrial park and also what the growth is looking like for his company going forward. Take a look. Thank you very much for speaking with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow. Let me start by asking you about why you've decided that industrial parks is perhaps a business in India which is growing and is something that you want to look at.
Well, thank you, Sunanda, for having me. Industrial parks and logistics parks is primarily what we do. So currently in India today, if an ex-company wants to set up a factory or a warehouse, they have to first go look for land, which in India has multiple zoning issues. Once you buy the land, you have to then move on to converting the land. So, your typical non-agricultural permission, so your NA order on the land. Once you finally manage to do that, you're almost about 9 to 10 months down from when you decided to start your business. And in post that, you have to apply for building permissions, plan sanctions, your specific business permissions. So now you're talking about 15 to 16 months down the line, and then you can start construction. So what Embassy Industrial Parks offers is day one, when you come to our park, you already have the land purchased. It's 100% clean, legal, with all governance followed, and it's converted with building permissions, plan sanctions. So now you're straight away moving on to your construction. Not only that, we take up the construction. So if you have a specific factory in mind with a very key set of specifications, or a specific warehouse in mind, we will invest the capital and build it for you.
How feasible is it though? Because it's not just the infrastructure that a company like yourself is able to provide inside the industrial park, it's also the surrounding ecosystem, and which is where the role of the government will come in. So how feasible, how viable is it to look at these opportunities in tier 2 and tier 3?
See, the Modi government has been a strong administrator of Make in India. And I think that itself alone is a very, very good policy change that's encouraging a lot of FDI in. Now, the government soon realized that they need to relax the FDI norms in real estate, and they've done that. So that's already happened. So our business, which is largely FDI, is allowed to flourish because of that. As far as at a city level, like for example, a Jaipur or a Delhi or a Mumbai, in this particular example, it's already viable. So the land prices are slightly on the higher side, but they do suit the business viability very much. So it's very viable.
Okay, so let's talk then specifically about some of these policies that the government is bringing about, whether it's Make in India, whether it's Skill India, Digital India, or the GST. How is it really going to change life for you as someone who's playing in this space?
It's already done that. So for example, Make in India, GST, Skill in India, Digital India. These are policies which directly benefit us, specifically GST and Make in India. So you're not going to worry about tax now, you're going to worry about geography, and you're going to worry about deliverables. So what this does for me as a company is it opens up the real estate in that particular area. Now I can invest in good quality prime land, buy the land well, and construct well for my clients, and they will lease the warehouses from those particular states, from those particular areas. So it changes the game for us, because originally pre-GST people are looking for smaller make-do warehouses, originally known as go-downs, and now they are moving into fulfillment centers, proper buildings with good flooring, good roofs, pre-engineered, prefabricated, good access to roads, a lot of amenities that logistics companies need. For example, fire is a major concern for them. They have large flammable inventory within their warehouses. So we as a default provide excellent fire infrastructure to protect their goods. Security and pilferage is a major concern for our clients. Most of our clients are FMCG, 3PL or e-commerce companies, and pilferage is a major issue. Now, example, company, an XYZ e-commerce company must stock at least 100,000 iPhones at one point. Now, losing 10 iPhones is a huge inventory loss. So, our parks come fully fitted with 24/7 CCTV control cameras, security round the clock. So, pilferage drops to almost nothing.
Sure. So, we started this conversation by talking about industrial parks and your reason to really get into those, into that segment. Talk to our MSME viewers about what are the specific benefits a company which is in the MSME space can see by setting up in one of your locations, and whether it's going to be cost effective for them, because at the end of the day, that will be the #1 decider.
Absolutely. So, if you're an MSME today, and I think an MSME ranges anywhere between 25 crores to 400 crores in terms of revenue. And if you're at that size, you're normally able to, if you want to start a new business or you want to lease a warehouse, you're going to have to again go through that entire cycle which I explained. Not only the time, but you're going to have to invest capital in land, you're going to invest capital in building permissions, and then you're going to have to invest capital in building your actual factory or your warehouse. We take all that away. We invest that capital. All you're doing is paying lease rental. So, all that capital pool which you were planning to block in land and building, you can now use that capital for your business, for your working capital, for your cash flow, for your salaries, so on and so forth. So, it makes their business much more sustainable, and it's plug and play. So, it's basically like walking into a shared office space versus building your own office from scratch. So, there's a huge advantage, and of course, it's sustainable because you now have so much free capital available to put in your business versus blocking it in a land and a building.
Okay, so what percentage of your clients do you think will be from this space going forward?
So, I feel in the 3PL sector, in the third party logistics and transport companies, we'll have a substantial percentage of our clients between that 25 to 400 crore turnover range.
Explain to our viewers how the model works with the government. Do you have any sort of tie-ups with the government? Does the government perhaps give incentives to any of the companies that set up, in your industrial park? How does it work? And also, what is the scope for PPPs in your space?
Very good question. So, basically in our space currently it's fairly private. The government plays a very little role. However, I must add that we recently signed 2 MOUs with the Haryana government and Tamil Nadu government, and they have been very forthcoming in assisting us to clear our land area, to get permissions, to get conversions and plan sanctions. They have appointed single window agencies and officers. We have officers from both the states following up with us for approvals and plan sanctions, which is very refreshing, because 5 years ago it was the reverse, where we were following up with government officials and there were delays, but now it's a breeze. So, that itself is a really big benefit that the government is offering us. We are in talks with a few state governments to give us a few incentives in our respective parks, because we're going to be providing a lot of indirect employment. So, each of our parks are going to have a minimum of 300 up to 2,000 people working in there, directly and indirectly through our clients. So, we're trying to talk to some governments to come up with employee friendly incentives which can allow more sustainable employment in the state, which can allow us to further invest FDI into that state, and they're very open to it. So, we're still having those discussions. It's early days. I think in a couple of years we'll make some progress. Okay.
You were talking earlier about providing security, for example, to the clients who set up in your industrial park. For those of our viewers who may want to know if, say, do you have a tie-up with someone who provides finance, maybe because that is their #1 concern, or you were talking about staffing. Do you have those tie-ups that you're able to provide for your clients?
So, we have a sister concern called Embassy Services, which is a facilities management arm, and they are very good at maintaining. Now, in India, we all know we set up great development, but we're fairly poor at maintaining them. Well, not at Embassy. So, we have a specific body, a specific independent company headed by an excellent CEO who ensures that all our parks are well maintained in terms of the roads, the electricity, the street lights, the common areas, the STP, ETP, the infrastructure, the buildings around them, which itself employs a lot of people directly and indirectly, and that takes care of that service. From a finance angle, most of our tenants who come in, their finances are tied up. So, their capital, their financial closures are in place. That's sort of a prerequisite, because we are investing all the capital on their behalf, and then they are paying us a lease rental. So, we don't want to be worried about recovering our rental returns. So, the financing service, no, we don't provide that, but our clients are fairly okay about that. It's not something that they're looking for.
Okay, so as we're winding down this interview then, I do know that your development is coming up in Pune, but talk to us about maybe what the next 2 to 3 years are looking like.
Oh, absolutely, it'd be a pleasure. So Pune is our first flagship park. It's 52 acres. It's about 1.1 million square feet of space. We've already leased out almost half the park to certain tenants. Upcoming, we are looking very strongly in Mumbai and Delhi. So in Mumbai, predominantly around the Bhiwandi Panvel area is where we're looking to buy new land. We're currently at the stage of land acquisition. In Delhi NCR, we've recently purchased a 24-acre piece of land which was in the news a few weeks ago, and we are looking at further lands in Delhi NCR to the tune of about 100-150 acres. We've already got some land in Chennai in Tamil Nadu, which is about 170 acres developable land. We are looking at further acquisitions of a couple of 100 acres in Bangalore, in Ahmedabad, in Kolkata, and potentially then after 2 to 3 years maybe in grade B cities.
All right, we wish you all the very best for that. I look forward to having you on the show sometime soon.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
It's time for a break. When we come back on the other side, we'll bring you a special logistics and packaging segment on Leader Focus tonight. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we're talking logistics and packaging on our Leader Focus segment. Harish Parmeshwaran, Director Finance of Lancer Container Line, Siddharth Jain, Joint Managing Director of Cisco Industries, and Bharat Mandot, CEO and founder of Stelco, had this conversation earlier with Pooja Jain. On this segment, take a look.
Gentlemen, first of all, thank you all for joining us this afternoon. We'll start with you, Siddharth. Give us a bit more about your background and what you do.
Basically, I'm from Cisco Industries Limited. Cisco is basically present in the field of converting and packaging. We are more of a packaging company. Earlier, when Cisco had started, we had started off with textiles, basically because of our presence in the textile hub of the country, that is Surat.
So Harish, you operate in a similar space. Tell us more.
So we started in 2011. When we started on a very small scale. We basically had 2 people, 200 square feet office, and we basically had just 60 containers at that point of time when we started. We'd like to diversify into areas which are completely related to a logistics space. For instance, we would like to look at warehousing as an opportunity. We would like to look at coastal shipping as an opportunity. We'd like to look at having a provision for warehousing as well. So that's on the one on the NVOCC side where we that's our major part of the business.
So my understanding is that 2 of you have some questions for Bharat here.
Okay. So as a Stelco, we started in 2012 as a management consulting firm, and we just club the legal services also with the management consulting. Reason behind that, when you are defining the boundaries of any business or you are planning for expansion, growth and all, that time you should consider, I can say, means compliance as a legal factor also in place, because that will decide the viability of the project itself. Now in terms of government, when they are saying it, like we would like to implement the GST or what, you need to decide the approach. Like rather than just giving the general gyan, you have to educate about the approach, like how people should treat the GST or any compliance change. So where we are coming into picture, and we are defining more on the problem solution method also in the legal service, like where we can club their business model and compliances together and educate them how you should adapt it.
Now Siddharth, your specific queries for Bharat.
Bharatji, what I wanted to know is, as an entrepreneur of an MSME company, what can you suggest us? How do we, distribute the liability or the responsibilities of our team members or team heads, and the entire responsibility does not lie on a particular director or a particular, president or something. Is there a way where we can distribute these kind of responsibilities to other people in the organizations, where they are, in charge of the decision taking with the compliance factor in? the focus.
Yeah, so in this one, first of all, you can say as a MSME, when you start the business, your major focus is on the operation. Compliance is the secondary part for you. Okay, so first to grow and achieve certain level, till time you are just, you can say, maybe not to by intention, just you can say compliance secondary, and sometimes it can you can say come in the ignorance part also. But now the moment you achieve some certain parameters, or you can say certain level, after that you just planning to become more compliant, and that time whosoever you can say in terms of deployed in the organization to manage that, they should be well trained about the approach of the organization, how they should behave in the pre and post kind of environment. Pre, where when you were just focusing more on the operation, now you can say more on the stability and sustainability. So that you have to just educate them. And second thing, after even like after the education also, your behavioral part and all, they should be in line with the vision of the organization, like when it should be compliant. So means in terms of training, in terms of you can say like responsibility fixing, they just need to realign all these people. If they are not taking responsibility as a you can say key management person of the company, you are exposing to external world, and that time all responsibility comes to you. Employees are the internal part of the organization. Even if they are compliant or not, ultimately you are going to face the reaction from the authorities and all.
Harish, did you want to chime in with your queries for Bharat?
Yeah, sure. Bharat, I have two questions. One, MSME is a growing area. Most of the entrepreneurs have established themselves in their own particular line of business. Very often than not, they want to diversify into areas. When we look internally as a group, we say we would want to integrate ourselves into the logistics sector, vertically forward as well as backward. But many often we see there are a lot of instances where people diversify into unrelated areas. What exactly is the logic, rationale, or a takeaway from there? That's one. The second piece I would like to ask you is, today technology has got into many areas and it's making a huge impact. We can take the example of the logistics space itself, where the entire concept of aggregator is making a difference. Which other area do you feel technology will get in and actually make a huge difference?
So in this one, first I'll take the diversification part for MSME. Means I'll start from the you can say journey from which you started the business. Okay, you just 10 years back when you were into business, you just take growth till today. Okay, now today based on your capital, your external infrastructure, or maybe you can say resources available to you, government policies, you should just take go for diversification, I can say that way. Reason behind that, if you will diversify to related areas, either backward or forward, you always should analyze the impact on your business, because you can say maybe whatever product or services you are into, this is generating right now gross margin positive for you, and maybe not net profit also positive. But later on, after the moment you will diversify, first your employee or your you can say organization itself is well equipped for diversification or not. Otherwise you have to just, you are entering into new learning curve, okay, which again going to take 3 to 5 years time to just generate the positive margins. Okay, so right now if you are well settled and you have enough team to handle the existing operations automated method, then you should opt for the diversification. Second part, as and when you will diversify, that time you have to just check and take the 5 to 7 years vision minimum side. Because why I am saying 5 to 7 years, 5 years is the single government term, and if you can see government deciding any policy which is favorable for that area in which you are looking for diversification, after 5 years suppose it got changed, okay, then what happened, whatever effort you put up in for that particular new venture or new area, it will go west, because new government may or may not take it positively in the way you are thinking of. Okay, so you have to just choose for, we can say 7 to 10 years ka vision, resources, your internal external capacities, and then look for the diversification. Again, in terms of wherever it's a high gross margin positive kind of things, or maybe you can say which is closely related to you, you diversify slowly to that, and then to you can say like you should not diversify to just you can say unrelated areas at all. Otherwise business, I mean when I see any of the businessman, like their learning curve and expertise come within the 15 to 20 years time. Okay, and if you are thinking as a MSME in 5 to 10 years diversification side in unrelated areas, it may be too risky things for you, which many people experienced in the phase when you can say recession came and all. Everybody entered into real estate, which was I can say highly unrelated area to any of the business. because they were having, you can say, easily access of the finance and all these things. But the moment slowdown came, their industry itself was struggling. So the project was as it is, capital got blocked, and now again you are not able to put up capital for your own projects, which was the primary for you. So rather than entering into secondary kind of business, first safeguard your primary things and then diversify it into secondary. So it's a completely customized kind of approach you have to follow, where you have to define your each and every parameter very well and then just diversify it.
If I talk about expansion, here Harishji talked about diversification, but in my case we have been continuously expanding capacities, we have been adding capacities. There has been a lot of word of caution to us from our bankers or from the equity players that so that there is a time where you have to take a call and stop expanding, or you have to stop investing. But with the kind of industry that I am in, the technology is changing every year. There is the newer method of packaging that are coming in, and if we don't expand, we'll be stuck in that particular segment where we are just doing technology which is rather outdated or which has not been upgraded. I would not use the term outdated, I would say a technology which is not upgraded. And for upgradation, I have to be in a constant loop of expansion phase. So is there anything where should I follow my instinct of no, I have to go for an expansion and I should do it, or should I take that caution and should I step back?
So in terms of expansion side, because it is a, like you can say, just extension of your existing business only, and you have the expertise, because of that you are thinking for the expansion. Second, in terms of expansion side, when you are just like planning, you have two things. One is the inventory which is coming in, production capacities, and you can say receivables, which or customers, I can say that way. You have to first diversify the customer base with the expansion itself also, so that you can utilize that extended capacity with other customers also. And as and when, if any wrong thing happen, as in terms of customer side, or you got delisted whatsoever, I am taking all the conservative scenarios, so you can sustain. Otherwise that time, and this is the like reason when bankers are saying like expand slow, because you can say they see like if with one customer you are getting continuous order, they are feeding it to you, and this is the approach all MNC follows. Like by the time you are producing the quality, it's fine. The moment if anything goes wrong or quality side their mismatches can start coming in, then they will just throw it out. Like I don't want this supplier, and that time your extended capacity will give you the, you can say, means more load on the overhead fixed cost, and your revenues is coming down. So more on the customer diversification or just getting new customer from that same segment will be. Second part is the inventory procurement, or maybe you can say and procurement of the resources, I can say that way. Inventory will be one of the component of that. So inventory side, how much means alignment you have along with the capacity which you expanded. If some suppliers are not, you can say, like providing you that much load, and you are not able to supply it at all, or you are dependent on totally third party, so you have to fix that particular place first, and then start. So you have to just design the chain from procurement to supply, because you are the middle one, which you are just taking the material and producing and again sending it to you. So both the sides you have to see for the expansion side also. Again, it is not diversification, but it is again depend on whatever relationship you are having, how much capacities, again internal employees, how they are going to digest it.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, and we wish you continued success. Thank you so much.
That wraps up tonight's episode of The Leaders of Tomorrow, and if you have anything that you want to say to us or you want to be featured here on the show, you can always write in at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. On social media, tweet at us at LOT_ET now, or tweet at me personally at Sunanda_J. Reach us on Facebook on Leaders of Tomorrow on ET now, or call us on that number you see on your screen. We promise to have all your questions answered. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.